Hello and welcome to the Troyiverse. This is episode 13. So, I hope everyone had a very good and productive week or whatever you felt like doing. I myself had an interesting one. I'm grateful for it. I am definitely grateful for everything that happened. Um, but it was just very interesting, very fascinating. Even today was very fascinating. Um, let me get into it real fast. So, my roommate had a doctor's appointment today, and I actually ended up meeting up with the doctor. Great gentleman, um, and it was we was just kind of like vibing. Like he was just like I was shooting out fun facts like I normally do, and he was reciprocating his fun facts, and it was a great like I have great interactions with anybody and everybody in the health field. Like a lot of the nurses that come by, like I really do like gravitate to having these open-ended conversations with them so they can feel comfortable and know that they're in a safe environment, um, revolving around strangers and stuff like that. So it it, it was it's always pleasant. But yeah, today was amazing. Like hopefully in a future time frame outside of today, he'll be hearing this podcast of mine. And hey, how's it going? So yeah, so just to be clear, today is the 12th? Yeah. Wow, today's the 12th. So yeah, so this is the 12th of January, a Monday. I kind of was procrastinating this week, doing the podcast. Usually I would have it done like honestly, I would probably have episode 14 done by the day, usually. But I don't know, this was kind of getting a relaxing kind of flow this week. But it was just interesting because let me tell you how funny this is. I went through such a roller coaster with one of my friends of just their emotions. It wasn't like it was thrilling for me. I enjoyed it. It was very entertaining. But it was funny because they went in a one week. Actually, it was like I think it was a collage of like multiple days of it was like a domino effect, but literally having a conversation with them, and they was like telling. First of all, it was so funny, it was so adorable because they literally was like telling me how brave I was for doing my podcast because they listen to my podcast and stuff, and they support and I appreciate them so much. But like it seems like so brave that of you to share your stories and be honest and open and stuff like that. This is like, but here's the thing about it. I feel as though, and this is it was like, wait, I just did it. See, like in real time, I literally just did what you be saying, like how you'll be sharing, like I'll be sharing my stories and telling about how I feel about my experiences, and then somebody will cut me off and be like, yeah, but I feel a certain way about how you feel about what you feeling about. Hey, okay. So literally in real time, they court themselves. It was like, oh my god, I just did it. And it was even funnier because I keep making this joke for some reason. The people that I'm around, they just have amnesia. Like like the black holes that I'm around have amnesia for some reason. It's so funny. Which makes it look like I'm the one that's crazy because just I remember so much. They be like, I didn't have it. Like, yeah. But anyway. So so it was funny because like literally they were listening to the podcast and then they hit me up about they was like, we definitely gotta talk about one of the podcasts. And jokingly I'm thinking, I was like, oh, so you probably heard that you know, did something with another one of my other friends that, I possibly didn't do with her or like that, like that. So I go, like hit him up later. No, actually sorry. I was sleeping, I was just hitting him up, showing him like memes and stuff like that. And like next thing I know, I get a video call from her, which is not, odd or like that. We video chat like in the early morning, late at night, depending on whenever we feel comfortable calling each other. But like we go and she hit me up. It was like, well, I don't like that you said what you said about what you said because that was not what happened. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, well, you said about blah blah blah. I was like, first of all, you weren't there. So you can't tell me what was or wasn't that. She's like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what you said that you said blah blah blah. And I was like, wait, I'm not saying that you said anything. I said that they said this to me. And the fact of the matter is, that's what I said. That's how I always say it because that's what happened. but it was no clear cut being listened to, and at the same time, I was like, first of all, you're listening through emotion. You're not listening to experience it through my eyes, my perspective. You're not trying to learn me. You're trying to correct me. So I'm not listening to that. And first and foremost, I'm not changing anything in my podcast because this is my perspective of my perception, like my perspective of my perspective. So, you know, it is what it is. Make your own podcast to share your side if you want to share your side. However, deeper down into this, because it got to a point they hung up and they was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's fair. It is what it is. That's their journey. So it was funny because after they got on the phone, I was still cracking up because I was like, outside of all that, it was still a factor of you're upset because you feel that someone's going to somehow Sherlock Holmes who you are through this thing and then feel some type of way about something that happened 20 years ago. From me just sharing my experiences about my life that I lived. So once again, it's so funny. It's it makes me think of something that came to mind a couple of months ago. I was like, the one thing that the abuser and abusee usually have in common is that at one point in time in their life, they didn't want the abuse to come out. They wanted to keep their abuse a secret. And I was like, it always sounds strange, but it's always so honest because it's kind of like the the victim is feeling shamed and alone and embarrassed because the fact that like how could this happen to me? This is not something that should be happening to anybody, but it happened to me. So clearly, what's going on in my head or what's going on with me that had this happen to me, and the abusers is like, oh yeah, I got it, and hopefully I can make them afraid enough that they don't, tell anybody. And it's so funny because as somebody who lived with so much abuse in my life, it's always been a thing that I always struck myself to kind of not get punched anymore, not get abused anymore, not get talked about anymore, not to be like misconstrued or like that. Because it was so weird when I had a moment to actually like think about this for a second, and I was like, a lot of individuals and people I see around the world, and like even in person, or people I knew or I know or thought I knew, if you will, like everyone usually has this common denominator of being a thing where they are alone and they're lonely, but they're reaching for a connection because of the fact that they can't be quiet with themselves. And it was always interesting because for me it was everything leading up to the last part. Like I was alone and lonely and stuff like that. And I sought and I used to seek a connection. But at the same time, it wasn't because of the fact that I couldn't sit quietly with myself. I love sitting quietly with myself. I mean, if anybody paid attention to like what I was talking about earlier, like I love the fact of being alone at 4 in the morning outside on my front step, just at complete pitch silence, like for like the 16 minutes that I was there, and until it kept shrinking and shrinking. Like I love being by myself. It's just the fact that only reason I crave connection with other people or other individuals is because of the fact that I think I'm awesome. Like, not even just think, I know I'm awesome. And I want to spread my awesomeness with other people. That's the reason why I like want to connect with people. I'm like, hey, if I can find more people that are on my level that's awesome, then we can all be awesome together. In whatever way we're all comfortable being awesome together with each other and with ourselves. So that was always like my underlying thing, and I think that's what was always the stressor for me because I was like, I know I'm cool. I know I'm awesome. I know I can do all these amazing things. I know there's other people that can do amazing things. I've met some of them. I'm just saying we are the ones that are my people because everyone else has this interesting concept of self where they feel that their self is the only ones that matter. And I'm looking for other individuals like the doctor I met today, honestly, other individuals like him who is like they genuinely want to help people, but they also understand the reality of what they're trying to do because they can let me state this for a fact. They can help everyone and anyone that is willing to accept their help. However, they cannot he and anybody in their profession or anybody that choose to want to help others can't help other people if they don't want to be helped. And the beautiful part of his discernment is he knows that, he understands that. We had a whole wonderful conversation about that, um, in regards of the different concepts of like my roommate's health and everything that's going on. It was very beautiful and informative, and it was enlightening. So it was just the fact that today I was able to meet up with that gentleman, that doctor, and hopefully we'll reconnect again. I mean, surely we will. He actually already is planning on a return visit to do another assessment or like that. However, it's just one of those beautiful things that later on that day, later on today, not even that day today, um, end up getting on TikTok, which I've been like sporadically kind of like weaning off of, not because it's nothing like I'm not enjoying it, or it's just kind of I just kind of need a break. I'm still in the middle, in the midst of like my hermit mode type thing. That's why I'm like I'm not really doing much on TikTok like that. Like I used to do and I want to get back to it. I think if I get back to it like in February, I think February when I come back and I'll do like my guitar videos, my daily guitar videos or like that. But yeah, I hopped on today and I seen this user before, and I vibed with her messages and her videos, and it was like if you see something for me, it's always the thing like if you see something you enjoy, then like it, share it, promote it, say something. If they reply, cool. If not, it's cool. And it is what it is. If they keep popping up in the feed, then there'll be more chances to engage and talk and yada yada. And so, and today they happen. I guess I just happened to meet them on their live, their daily live, or whatever amount of lives they do, whatever like that. I know it's the usual daily thing, but I never ran into her during that time. And today it was really fortuitous because it was a great conversation. It was a great vibe, great energy. Um, hopefully, like they'll be hearing this podcast as well sometime in today or sometime, well, not today, but I guess today for them, but in the future. So yeah, it was good. And also, I sent them a message about my podcast and about other things. So hopefully it'll be a interesting new connections between those two individuals. And then ironically, to jump back to the first story I was talking about with my other friend, that same day, that same morning when she like hit me up and was like yada yada yada, ended up getting hit up by getting a reply message back from my bestie, my soul bestie, and like more ants to grasshoppers. They hit me up that same day, and it was so good. Like it like warmed my heart because I mean I wasn't bothered by the morning card. I was just like, that's funny. Like you really forgot that you literally are doing the same thing. You just remembered that you did the last time we talked. But regardless, that's your journey. It's entertaining to watch. But then my soul bestie like messaged me, and I'm like, yeah. But mind you, I'm talking to one of my other platonic like friends from her neck of the woods, and I'm so proud of that friend because that friend is like their life is their life is. I'm so proud of them. Their life is just their life, and I'm so proud of them. And I can't. I want to gush so much, but it's not my place because it's not my life to share. Well, I'm so proud of them. I'm so, and whenever they hear this, they're like, yeah, I'm proud of you. Yeah. AAC. Like, man, shoot. Anyway, but yeah, then like my soul bestie hit me up. We was busting up and chatting and stuff, and it's been a great vibe. It's just been a great energy, and I'm just so grateful for all of it. Even had a conversation with the roommate because the roommate hit me up. Uh, it's interesting, she has a thing where she just wants to try to figure out ways to stress about stuff for no reason. Like it was interesting. It was it was so funny too because um she hit me up. It was like you had a number for a contract. My contractors that I hired to fix to repair the porch. You know what? I'll do a brief recap on everything in this, after the story real fast. But yeah, I had she wanted their number because they have left like some of their stuff here, like like a ladder or what like that, because they assumed they was gonna be coming back, and I assumed that as well before everything happened. So it was like, yeah, they got to pick up their stuff. And I was like, all right, let me give them a call. Well, mind you, it was like I think like 1 o'clock in the morning, like 1 o'clock a.m. or like that. Like what I'm supposed to like text them right now, one in the morning, to say, hey, come get your stuff. But I was like, I don't. I looked for the number. I didn't have it. I can't find the number because I think his number changed or whatever like that. So I was like, how did you get the number the first time? And she's like, oh, I can go. I was like, okay, there you go. You call and blah blah blah. And then why it was so interesting because she called the friend of the family who gave her the number originally, and apparently the next day, because she wasn't answering her phone because she was asleep, I guess, or whatever, I don't know. He literally walked over to our house to and he wrote down the number on a piece of paper just to bring it over to give it to her. And I'm like, I love the dedication. I love the support. I love just the tenacity of him being like, yeah, I'm gonna come out and do that. But I'm like, you called on the phone and you could have left a message of the number instead of literally walking over to the house because you could have been hurt. Like it's you know anything could have happened, and I don't want to wish any ill will on anybody. But I'm like, yeah, I don't like. I wouldn't have felt responsible for the fact of him choosing to come outside, but I would have felt bad if it was like, oh yeah, he came over here to the house to give her this number, and now he's hurt, and she just go like, oh, that's sad. But anyway, um, so just quick tidbit, quick like update. The same uncle that I asked to um for the lawyers and to set up a meeting for the family, for the blood family to talk about my daughter and to the later incident of the crack in the ceiling that happened from the rain and the snow accumulation and stuff like that. It started dripping into the house, which all three of those things nobody's talking about and nobody's addressing and nobody's having a conversation with me about it at all. Nobody even like hit me up to say, hey, this is what's happening or this is what the plan is, yada yada yada. Completely ignored it. All of that. Luckily, uh I seen that there was mold coming from that situation, but I neutralized it with vinegar and then some baking soda. But so that's fine now, thank goodness. However, the crack is still a crack, and luckily, since the last rainfalls and snowfalls and stuff like that, there hasn't been any more dripping. So there's that. Um, so like I said before, when I get my RV deuces, I already thought about I'm going to Canada, going to Canada Woods. But anyway, um, but yeah, like it was funny because the same uncle who literally was, I'm asking, hey, I need support for this, I need help with this, yada yada, crickets. I get a call. Matter of fact, it was so funny. The last week when I was doing my last week podcast, I kept getting calls from the roommate being like, hey, he wants to talk to you, he wants to talk to you. However, I'm like, okay, he could call me. And he's like, well, clearly he keep calling, no answer. I was like, no, he's not, because I don't got a missed call at all. But clearly, he was calling another number that was one of my old numbers, even though he still texts. He used to text me like every day the fortune cookie stuff, the fortune cookie daily, messages or whatever like that. And I was like, well, clearly he's not texting the right number. So eventually he does call the right number. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm about to get in the car. I'm like, all right, cool, congratulations. He's like, why you say that? I was like, because you about to get a new car. So he's like, oh yeah, but I ain't get it yet. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I'm not sure what's happening. So he was like, well, I need you to pick me up to um I need you to pick me up tomorrow to get my car, my old car, because it's down the road from me, yada yada. And I was like, okay, what's wrong with Stevie? He's like, oh well, Stevie, got his family and had his his kids, his wife, and everything. I don't want to bother him. I was like, oh, okay, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I understand not wanting to bother him because he's a busy guy. He got a lot of responsibility. However, he didn't ask me if I was busy. He didn't ask me what I'm doing at all. He just was like, I'm just gonna call Troy. Hey, take me over there. Which I was like, uh, literally, I asked you for three different things, and literally not having done none of the things I asked for. None of the things I asked for, and to be like, all right, but I wanna just call you and say, hey, pick me up tomorrow. Thankfully, that never happened. He never called me the next day to have him pick me up. So thankfully, he figured out what he had to figure out. But I'm like, this is how my family is. That's just how my family is, and this is funny. So, uh, to say to have everything that the people I met today, the people I interacted with today, also it ended up meet up having a wonderful conversation with somebody that was actually in the group, the live chat that I was on with the new person that and I will more than likely uh share their tags and stuff like that, but I do want to talk to them first, and I do want them to hear my podcast first before I actually be like, oh yeah, let me. And they be like, nah, I don't want you talking about me. Like I don't want to cross any lines before I have any permission or consent or whatever like that. So, but when I do, I will express that and say, with their pages and stuff like that, and with their other socials and stuff like. Because I'm going to check them out. Like I've seen some of their artwork, their creations, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be I'm curious about your journey. Yeah, so it's interesting. She actually reminds me of somebody from an actress from a show, a couple of shows I like. But anyway, um um what was I saying? Oh, so yeah, so the the concept of just be in such a state of gratitude for like all the stuff that's going on and like by okay so okay, let me talk about my my new class. I have my new class, and it's really great. I was a little. I felt like I was going to be overwhelmed at first because every week I always, well, every new class I always go in. You get like a head start type. Couple of days before the class is open, but you can still go into the class and you can see like what are the course curriculum for week 1 to week 5, and I try to read everything real fast or at least skim over it real fast. Um, and try to like assess like what my task is going to be just to get myself properly prepared, mentally prepared type of thing. So I see that this one usually discussion boards are like I think I talked about this before, but like usually discussion board the first ones when I was doing in like my associate's degree, it was about like 200 to 250 words or like 200 to 300 words or like that. Like the first week, of course, it was like 100 words or like 200 words, but after like week 2 to week 5 or week 10, if you have one of those type of courses where it goes for 10 weeks, like usually discussion boards are like 200 to 300 words. When I got into my bachelor's, it went for like at first it was like 200 to 300, and then of course the first week was again 100 words and 50 word reply to two different you know pairs of mine. So 200 words flat for the whole assignment. Then the week 2 up would be, you know, 200 for the first base question, and then 100 for each reply. So about 400 words each. So in this new class, and the beautiful part is with these classes now, because I'm on like the last leg of my uh, learning for my bachelor's degree. Now I have two classes for 1 5 week interval, and then after I pass those two classes, it'll be one class, and then for 5 week interval, and then it goes back to two classes, and the one again, yada yada yada, until I finish my degree. I look on the discussion board, and why is it 600 words? I did a triple take. I ain't gonna hold you. I did a triple take. I was like, wait, I did maybe no, I don't. I can't say 600. So literally 600, 600 words, and I was just like I know I can talk, and I love talking, but I hate typing. So I was like, I'm gonna have to just probably do dictation and just talk through the discussion board type thing. Even though I did, because I'll still get a little frazzled with dictation because of the fact that sometimes the voice output doesn't properly collect my audio properly, and it goes into all these weird different. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Anyway, regardless, digressing. Um, it was actually really cool though. I actually the question was something that was up my alley, something I was interested in. Actually, it was something really fun because it was talking about the last thing that I bought and was I impulse buyer. And originally, as I answered the question, originally I was like, no, I previously wasn't. Like before I died, I wasn't an impulse buyer. I literally was like, I have to make sure I know where my money is at all times, and I blah blah blah. I mean, just I was frugal, but I was frugal because of the fact that I was born with nothing, so I didn't have anything except for the things that I bought myself. And if I bought it, it's because I wanted it. If I wanted it, it's mine now. So that's where I was at with my merchandise possessions type thing. So, but now is one of those things that after I died, I'm just at the point where I'm like, yeah, everything is created and things get old and wear out and some things become trash. And, that's just a part of life and existing, and everything is always going to have a beginning and end point, even except for energy because it can't be destroyed or created. It just exists in different states of different states of matter or positioning. So, oh, now I'm at a point where I'm just like, if I see it, I want it, and if I want it, I'm getting it, and I'm not going to look at my bank account to see if I got enough money because I know I have enough to get it because I trust in that myself, and I trust in, my higher self to say that this was put in front of me so I can have it. This the same reason why I went to Pittsburgh off of just that whim of just seeing the Pittsburgh commercial for I'm sorry, it wasn't a Pittsburgh commercial. It was definitely a commercial for the RV convention, but I later found out it was an RV convention in Philadelphia, which I was still happy that I went to the Pittsburgh because I wanted to. That was the first time I was able to take Nagi out for a long distance drive, and after getting her in August, like August 16th, it was just one of those things of like, yeah, this would be a great trip to. Oh, was it? Yeah, I think it was September then. Yeah, it was definitely probably September. Oh, sorry, I was thinking about another concept. Cause that's something else that happened. Not that like I forgot. I meant to talk about this earlier, but I went to I was invited to go see Twin Peaks with one of my friends, the same friend I was talking about that I met during the snake incident where I actually went just complete like Criminal Minds. It was like, do you have a plastic bag and a empty shoebox? And I was just like, all right, let's just take it to the dumpster and just walk them down the street and barefoot, like clothed but barefoot, down the street to dump the remains. And yeah, like we had a shared moment. Like we discarded a body together. I mean, that's the worst way to say it, but it is the most truthful way to say it. We got rid of a snake body together. But yeah, we ended up going to. He invited me out to go see Twin Peaks, which was interesting enough. It's a show I want to watch, and I will actually watch. And I was able to go. It was ironic though because so much stuff was going on. I've been drinking dandelion tea, and I've been taking a lot of different supplements and herbs and like oregano oil and black seed oil, yada yada yada. So like, and also, oh my god, I made a new concoction. I shared it to a couple of my a couple of my friends. I call it School Kill Punch. Um, and okay, so I get a regular bottle of water. I get a regular bottle of water. It's up to you, whatever water you drink. I drink the water I drink, and that's just what I drink. So I get my bottle of water, and I pour some vinegar in it. I pour baking soda in it. Um, and usually I would just stop it there. But then I went and I remembered I had limeade extract in the fridge, so I had that. So I poured some limeade into it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I got creatine because I'm working out. So I was like, let me pour some creatine. So I had creatine, baking soda, um, uh, oh, sorry, I can't. Why can't I think of the name? Vinegar. There we go. And the lion's mane. And when I tell you, I was talking a mile a minute. I actually hit up the same friend I was talking about that I'm so proud of. Like, cause I leave the messages and stuff like that of what's going on with me, and just to like, cause they are busy, so it's not a time where they can always like talk to me and stuff like that. So just to let them know I'm still thinking about them and I'm still around and yada yada yada. They can get back to me when they can. I let them like hear my voice and yada yada yada. So I was literally talking a mile a minute, and I caught myself. I was like, "Oh my god," because limonene helps. Well, first of all, limonene is a mushroom, cordyceps, so it is it helps with the mental awareness. It helps with memory. It helps with just mental coherence. Um, apparently, ironically enough, because yes, which call it is a chemical. It's so many things. Between the baking soda, the vinegar, baking soda is a neutralizer, vinegar is a neutralizer, but it also helps to um, flush out uh, your system. Baking soda actually helps with so many different things when you ingest it. It helps with better gut health, better bacteria, gut bacteria. It helps with any type of deflammatory properties, uh, as well as um, I want to say it helps with the heart as well. But I want to say do your research, because I do a lot of research on baking soda, and baking soda does a lot of stuff. I really keep saying it's manna from the Bible. Like that's the if you read the Bible and you know what manna is, the magical gift from God that was just the white substance can do anything and everything, and they can eat it and they can treat medicine. It's baking soda, baking soda. So and the creatine also because it helps with your body and helps with muscle like regeneration and stuff like that. When you're tearing your muscles and going all hard. But it's also a chemical, so it also affects the brain. So it also because the chemical format does help with repair to the muscles and the tissue of your body. It also does the same type of thing, but in a different way to the brain because the brain is not being ripped and torn, but brains can get holes in them, and they do need to have some type of tender loving care to recoup, and that's why we sleep, so we can actually allow our brains to not have the focal point of the main function of working. It could just work in the background and just be on sleep mode type thing. Hence sleep. But anyway, um, but yeah, it was just a fantastic like week all together. Like not even just week. This is a great year so far. Not even saying like, oh yeah, this is yeah, and everything's blah blah blah. But like, it's just amazing. Um, being in this I don't know. I can't. How can I explain it? This framework of just bliss and just gratitude? Like I appreciate everything so much because it's just like me having that growth and that understanding of being like, huh, I really the reason why I want to hang out with so many people because I really do want to share how awesome I am and I want to experience how awesome everybody else is who are similar to me, who just are kind people for kindness sake. Like I want to meet other versions of the doctor. Like I feel like, I'm like the doctor and I will be a doctor eventually. But the fictional character of Doctor Who. Like, I just want to meet other incarnations of that outside of me. Hence, the whole Phoenix metaphor of we are all the Phoenix. So I want to find my tribe of Phoenix like minded lights, photons that's just floating out there trying to just help and pay it forward. And it's great because I am finding them. Like, it's so funny. I am finding them. And the fact that I'm finding them, and it's just going to be a beautiful thing of we'll be able to grow and to heal ourselves and the world around us who wants to be healed by the messages that we're sharing with them. Because it's a simple message, and the message is just be kind to yourself and to others. Just learn, do your research, like understand this journey is your journey, but it's a shared journey with everybody else, and we're all connected and we're all one. And sooner we know that, the sooner we can understand that, the sooner we can vibe on that frequency. Like the, it's going to be incredible. Like love really is the way. Love and kindness really is the way. And it has nothing to do with ego or being on top or being ahead of everybody, because it's not about being better than the person next to you. It's about being a better person than you were yesterday, and choosing to continue down that path if you want to continue being better, or if you are cool where you're at. That's just your journey, and that's fine. And I have no dictation on how your journey should go, because that's your journey. Just like no one has any dictation on telling me how my journey should go, because that's my journey. So I mean, if you're still with me on this ride, and I appreciate you if you still are, like that's it. Like, we can't tell anybody what anybody should do, and we can't dictate to anybody what they have to or should not do. Because if that's not meant for them, or that is meant for them, that's just their journey. Now, once again, let's not play the semantics game. I'm not saying anything about anybody hurting anybody, because I know a lot of black holes like to go into this whole tidbit for tat thing about moving goalposts and being like, oh, see, he don't want it, blah 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 blah. I don't care. I'm talking about kindness, because I know people blank out and don't hear stuff over their emotions. But like kindness, just be kind. Just let stuff go. Like, understand and feel. Like, once again, episode 4, for everybody who forgot. Like, understand what you're experiencing. Learn from those experiences. Feel those experiences. And then when it's time for you to feel comfortable to let it go, let it go. And then, just move on. But if you don't want to let it go, you want to hold on to it, that's your journey. That's your prerogative. All this is up to you. All the things I'm saying, like I keep saying, they align with me, and I am finding other people that the things that I'm saying align with them in a similar fashion. Not the same, not exactly the same, because we're all unique individuals on our own unique individual journeys. But for those that find a similar message and a similar resonance to the things that I'm aligned with, that they are also aligned with, yeah, we can come together and we can actually mold and like grow and evolve and like see what new concepts that we can think of together, because like I keep saying, people need people. You never know what you don't know until you realize that you didn't know it, and then you become more enlightened. And that's all. That's what that I know. There's people out there like that. I literally talk. I was talking to them today. The people that just want to learn and they just want to explore. They want to discover. And they want to just understand. They just want to understand, not for their own like egos of being like, okay, I want to be better than everybody because I know this, but because of the fact that it's just fascinating to learn. Like, even the hard stuff, even the worst stuff in history, like it's horrible, and it's so sad that anyone had to, one, live through that, or experience that, and two, get like murdered by that, or just harmed at all by that. Like it's horrible. But at the same time, it's like this happened. It can't be ignored because that would be a disgrace to the experience that was had by those victims who did had to live through that or did die through that. So I do want to learn about it. I do want to hear their stories. And maybe that's me being where I'm at because I want people to hear my story. So I want to once again treat people the way I want to be treated. But it's fascinating because one of my uncles, the Virgo uncle, it was interesting because I when I watch stuff to connect. Um, and like I said, it was hard. It's hard for me to connect with people because of the fact that as soon as I start sharing who I am and what I'm about, people feel prickly and wanted to interject about my life about and make themselves the center stage. And I understand that because of ego, but that's why I mm, I become a recluse and I go back into my TARDIS basically, and I just kind of just relax and watch movies and read and learn and look up stuff online and read science manuals and like watch world science online on YouTube or like that with Brian Greene and like I watch all these different things and learn all these different things and play chess and you know do school and play guitar and everything. I'm just like and write my book, which the book is coming along nicely. I'm doing a little change up to it. I'm super happy about it. But like because it's like, all right, well, eventually I'll get to the point where I don't have a headache no more from dealing with so many people that aren't trying to understand me. So I'll just go and I'll just watch stuff from other creators who I can resonate with. And it was interesting because I would watch stuff like Doom Patrol, and I love Doom Patrol because it was such a offshoot of what the narrative of superhero like comic books were, as well as the weird sort of history of the Doom Patrol comic books itself, and like the in universe and like outside universe creations of yada yada that happened with it. Like apparently it's kind of similar to the crossbow being created in two different areas in the world around the same time within like either 50 or 100 years of each other, but like it was no way those two different areas could have connected to each other to have the same design be presented in that fashion. Or the movie, I want to say it's the movie's brothers. I want to say it's brothers. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But it was the same scenarios like that where the Doom Patrol had a eccentric, wealthy guy in a mansion who's in a wheelchair that controlled or basically instructed a group of teenagers that or young people that was basically like 5 to 6 people that has their own individual superhero abilities that allowed them to take on challenges that usually other heroes in their universe would take they don't usually take on. Um, Hence, a lot of people was like, it, we weren't sure what came out first, Doom Patrol or X Men. So it's a lot of comparisons between that. However, the same thing with Doom Patrol, a lot of underlayered concepts with it is about like mental health issues. I mean, one of the I I don't enjoy. I'm not gonna say I hate. I don't enjoy the name of one of the characters, but I'm just gonna say Jane. If you know, you know. But like Jane is a character who has like 44 or 46 different personalities, separate individual personalities, and each of those separate individual personalities have their own abilities. It's actually interesting because when you look at that character does look like a template to the character of Legion, as if like, okay, somebody literally took Jane's character was like, well, let's just make that actually Charles's son and give it the same abilities except this time it's infinite. It's not just going to be a six number. It's not going to be a 66 or 64. We're going to make it infinite. So Basically, it's kind of like that. But it's still interesting. I always enjoyed the show, and I enjoyed the character. I enjoyed the concepts of it because it wasn't. It's a superhero comic book show, but it it's so good because it's so layered with so much emotion and so much depth. Like this was like one of the first shows that brought back Brendan Fraser. Like, because Brendan Fraser, after he had his accident and like hurt, like I think he broke his back. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say like if he did or not. I think he did. I didn't go into the details about what happened to him, but he was out of acting for years, and like Doom Patrol was what his what was he got cleared to act again because he wanted to come back, and he got cleared, and Doom Patrol was one of the first ones that he did. I still gotta watch The Whale. I want to watch The Whale because one, of course, Brendan Fraser is an amazing actor, and Sadie Sink is in it. For anybody who hasn't been a privy to this, I want Sadie Sink to be Jean Grey in the MCU, hands down. I don't care. Apparently, that's happening. There were possibilities that this wasn't going to be the right timeline, that she was going to be Jean Grey, but I am actually happy that I'm not going to say I'm happy that that's happening because the movie's not out yet, and until the movie come out yet, I'm not going to say she is or she isn't because that's just redunculous. But anyway, um, yeah, but more than likely, the it came out already by now that it's she's more than likely is going to be a variant of Jean Grey in the next upcoming movie. So, you know, fingers crossed, because everyone talks about everything. So I only want to wait until I see it with my own eyes and say yay when it happens and nay if it doesn't. I mean, not even nay, because I don't care. Like, as long as she's, like, they don't stifle her acting, I don't care. Because I think she's a phenomenal actress as well. Even outside of Stranger Things, because um, last thing I watched her in was, I think it was The Sacrifice, where her and Eric Bana was actually dope because if Eric Bana does come back as Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk, that'd be so funny to have them working together, even though like they work together and like it's so funny. Anyway, um, but yeah, also Sacrifice was a good movie. It was a Eric Banner was he was a journalist, I think, or he was a novelist, and he was doing a study of cults, and he ran into a cult, and his daughter, which was Sadie Sink, was with him. Kind of like a Eureka type thing. It was kind of like a Eureka type. Like it was just he was just like the guy with his daughter, and he just wanted to keep his daughter safe type thing. It was a movie, man. It was a good movie. Speaking of good movies, um, I just ended up watching The Witch, um, Subvergence, and The Witch 2, the other one, which those titles are incredible, by the way. I'm sorry. The Witch 2, the other one, was like, like Chef's Kiss. Like, y'all put so much effort and put no effort into it. Like, it was just The Witch 2, the other one. Like, yeah, it's another one. That was right there. It's so funny. But the movies were so good. Let me tell you, like, how much of a hodgepodge amalgamation gumbo this movie was for me. For me, it felt like, first and foremost, let's be clear, Korea was like, they seen Stranger Things and was like, oh, we'll do you one better. So it's basically all these movies are. It's supposed to be a trilogy, but apparently there's some production issues, so they haven't started the third one yet. But like, it was like, all right, it's the gate program for Korea. That's all it is, the gate program for Korea. However, they go super saiyan on this. Like they literally go from it being, oh yeah, just like monsters. These little kids are just monsters, little psychopaths. To them, they're literally like Sentry. I mean, they're not. Okay, let me take that back. They're not Sentry. They're like they're Lucy. That's what it is. They're Lucy. But yeah, the both of those movies are fantastic. There's subtitles, so a lot of people who don't like to read subtitles, um, uh, sorry, I didn't make it. There you go. But if you cool with subtitles, fantastic movies, fantastic. Like I need part three. I need the story to end. Like even if I have an idea of how the story's going to end, I need the story to end. Like I need that. I got to know. I got to know. But yeah, it's on Hulu. So I watched it on Hulu for like 2 days or like that. It was dope. But yeah, like it was fantastic. Like the whole, like oh my god, I want to talk about it so bad, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody because I don't care about spoilers. But that's me. But I want to talk about it so bad. But like going back to like what's going, I okay. Talk about Twin Peaks. I'm sorry. Let's talk. That's what I was talking about. Going back to when my friend invited me to Twin Peaks, he was like, "Hey, have you ever watched Twin Peaks?" And literally, my answer was, "No, but I want to. I just don't have anybody to watch it with. Like, I want to watch it. Like, I feel like Twin Peaks is one of those shows, especially from the clips I've seen from it, because I didn't know anything about the premise of it. I just seen like actually, I just seen recently they did like a commercial for it recently, like whatever. But I didn't know the premise of it, so I was like, yeah, I want to watch it with other people because I want to talk about it. And it was great because he was like, well, that's what I'm calling because I wanna they're gonna do a movie shown in the theaters and if y'all wanted to invite you to come, and I was like, all right, dope. But yeah, going back to what's going, like I'm doing a whole bunch of supplements, so like my stomach's not feeling the greatest because everything, because like a lot of systems, I'm fleshing my system out type thing. I'm on diet today. I'm on a diet. I'm eat healthy and stuff like that. So I'm like, and also anxiety stomach because I'm like, I don't go outside like that. I don't have agoraphobia, but it is something close to that because I just don't like being around like people a lot because people bring chaos. And I'm like, as much as I love chaos, and sometimes I don't want to do it when I don't want to do it, and that's my prerogative. So I was like, all right, it'll be cool. I'll go out, yada yada. And I was like, I could get some wine because I'm gonna be by the Acme because we was in the Jenkintown area, which was it was annoying because at the same time, if my stomach and everything was fine, I wasn't feeling anxiety, yada yada. Yada, I would have been like, yo, you want to go to IHOP? Because IHOP was right down the street. We was right there, like that theater that's right in Jenkintown or whatever like that. Most people drive past it all the time. Never been in it. First time I was in it. It was dope in there. It was nice. It was so packed. It was so many people. It was so many people that was there. The theater was literally almost fully packed. It was they people pulled out folding chairs and was sitting on folding chairs in the back of the theater. I like it was great. I didn't know that the whole show, well, the whole first part of the show dealt with a. I knew it dealt with a murder. I didn't know the age of the victim, and I didn't know the gratuitous of how much they was going to focus on the parents' grief and how long it was going to stay on the parents' grief. It was well done. I mean, it was cheesy and gabby. It was like 98, 92 or something like that when the show came out, but it still resonates to me as like a father, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is oh, she's still screaming. Yeah, I mean, I could understand. I could relate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then then she was going over the last thing she said to her. It was like that's the last thing I ever said. Like it, it was, and the thing was, it's quirky. So it was right up my alley, but it was just tough. It was a lot. Like it was a lot of it's when it happened. I was at the point where I was like, I think I'm about to leave. I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. Not around people. I don't know if I want to like process and like do my shadow work in front of a whole theater of people and just start sobbing because of my daughter. So I was like, no, let me just. It's only for an hour and a half. Like, let me just see with like the rest, because literally it was so funny. I literally had my own mental conversation with myself because it was actually an interesting concept. That well, not interesting concept, but it was an interesting day where my grandmother passed away, transitioned, and everybody had to come over because I called everybody to let them know that what had happened. And when everybody got here, they was like, "Hey, everyone's here. We want to watch a movie. Troy, pick out a movie." I was like, "Okay." So I picked up a movie, And it gets to a point where I'm not sure if anybody's watched this, but if you have, Children of Man. Children of Man is a fantastic movie. Clive Owen, Juliette Moore, Michael Caine. God, what's his name from Serenity and Inside Man and so many other amazing people. 12 Years a Slave. But yeah, he was in it too. But fantastic. So they get to the very. I don't know if anybody watched it. You know how the movie first opens up, where the coffee house scene that the whole reason with the ringing in his ear type thing. They got to that part. They got to that part, and then they cut it off. And it was like, it's too graphic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fair if it's too graphic, understandable, yada yada yada. However, if you actually seen a movie, you know how good that movie is. You know what the whole concept of that movie is, or your interpretation of the concept of that movie is. And that's basically what I was like. It's a fantastic movie. It's actually funny because the uncle that I asked for help the three times, he actually he was like, "Oh, let me borrow that movie." Everybody cut it off. He didn't say that. It's another example of that interesting enough. But he didn't say that, but he did come to me privately instead of telling everybody, "Hey guys, no, I kind of want to watch this now. Let's just hang out and watch and see where this goes." He watched it. He was like, "Oh my god, the movie is amazing." I was like, "I know, right?" He's like, "Oh my god, it was so good." I was like, "I know. That's why I picked it because I pick out good movies. I don't understand what the." But once again, that's the life that I was brought up in, and I had so many people treat me in that light where they don't know what they don't know, but they want to create some type of fable about what they don't know to make it look like it's going to be something bad that they didn't want to be a part of. But then when they do find out what the actual story was, they're like, "Oh, that was actually really pleasant. I really enjoyed that." Yeah. So why you keep acting like every time I open my mouth, y'all got to brace for impact like I'm going to do something fucking to harm you? It don't make sense. It never makes sense. But at the same time, it makes sense now because that's their MO. That's how they act. That's their journey. That's where they are in their energy. And they can't understand how I can be how I am when they know how they feel about me. It just shows their own stripes. It shows who they are. So it's just one of those. It's just one of those things where it's just hilarious because it's like, yeah, like I see, and I get it. Just like, oh my god, let's go back to the story about my grandfather where I poured out the liquor and filled it back up with water and stuff like that. When he died, because he also died same house, same bed, yada yada yada. Um, just when I was a teen, an earlier teen or like that. I want to say I was like 14, 15. I want to say around that time. Um, so many people, so many of his friends came to the house and like from my perspective, I'm not going to say like I'm not going to give a number like it was 175 people. No, like it was probably like seven, like 5 or 7 people, maybe 7 people. But like it was like for still the amount of people that came, it was a lot of people. A lot of his friends came over and just gave my grandma money or gave her something. It was like, yo, like your husband helped me out, and I don't know if he told you that he helped me out, but he helped me out, and I just never was able to pay him back. But I just feel like I want to pay that debt because I don't know if I'm gonna ever come over here again. Yada yada yada. And like they was just like breaking everybody off and being like, yo, like not breaking everybody, but like giving my grandma like some cash and like gifts and shit. And be like, yo, yada yada yada. Like your husband did right by me, and I want to do right by y'all because of that. And it was just something that was just interesting because I overheard some of the conversations coming from like my roommate and her siblings and stuff like that, the uncles and everything like that, and I was just they had no clue. They had no clue, which should have been my first earmark of being like, yeah, my family don't know each other. They didn't even know their father because their father was doing stuff for the community they had no clue about, and they just thought he was just drinking and smoking and just being, extra and yada yada yada. But same way with me. They don't know anything about me, but they want to assume they know everything about me. But whatever. sometimes it just takes a long time to realize what's going on. That's all. So even with that, it was just interesting seeing the new concept of ooh, sorry, butter. Ooh, sorry. Just, if, I don't know if y'all can hear the dude hacking up my lung. I I'm trying not. Oh my! I got a vein in my forehead. I'm trying not to say the black lung line from Zoolander. Oh man. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's hurting Carl. Carl is fighting, fighting for his life for me not to say that line. Okay. Think about something else. Oh man. So yeah, it was just so interesting because like I said in previous podcasts, like we never know who we're actually talking to or dealing with at any point in time because only thing we can ever go off of is what they actually say to us. And we don't know what they're saying is the truth or a lie. And when I say a truth or a lie, I don't mean that they could be purposely lying or telling the truth to us. They could be lying or telling their version of the truth to themselves and then being like, okay, this is what I'm going to present to the world. And it could be completely different from what they actually truly experienced or, yada, yada, yada. And it's interesting and is wild because it's one of those things that when I live my life and I'm like, wait, I literally got a recording of what actually happened. It's not me telling my story. It's me like literally saying, I'm going to press play. You can hear both sides. But the side that I tell you from my side is going to have the same exact thing that's in a recording. It's just when other people be telling their side of the story, they be like editing shit and like taking shit out. Like, oh, I never said that. Like, yeah, you did. Here's the proof. And then they want to get mad about that. Like, how dare you record me? I ain't want to be recorded. Well, stop lying. Like, don't try to lie at me, and then because you got you got sympathy from the public because of whatever reason, I'm a big black scary guy, so everybody just automatically think I'm the devil. Then now I have to record everything to show like, no, I'm literally just being me. I'm just trying to live my life. I'm just trying to live my life in peace, comfort, and happiness. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. I don't understand why it's a big deal or a problem. But for some reason, it's this new weird concept that I've just broken out of where I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. You can't tell me how to live my life. But for some reason, people still choose to feel like they think they can. Like, no, I want to tell you how you're supposed to talk about me. No, I want to tell you how I think about you. But understand that just because I think that's who you are, that's my perception of you. That's not saying that's who you are. That's just how you treat me. That's basically it. So if once again, if anybody ever had a problem about how I refer to them, then understand this is how I see you treating me. And if that's a problem, then either stop treating me that or just, understand that you're gonna keep getting talked about. I mean, I don't understand the math here. Do better. Be better. And the beautiful part about it is the person who had the problem with those things, they are doing better now. Like that's why we were friends. Because I'm like, yeah, like we both did fucked up shit to each other, but we was both learning and growing and understanding like what was right and wrong, and we was also dealing with the fucking traumatic fucking bullshit of all our family fucking drama. Like, do that mean that wipes away the slate clean and everybody's all happy go lucky? No, it's gonna be residue for shit for everybody. I mean, not me because I'm over it, but at the same time, don't make up an issue about something where there's not an issue about it. Because I'm not making up this this concept to talk about my story to like give a middle finger to everybody. I'm just sharing my side of the story because I'm like tired of everybody trying to make up my side of the story for me and just getting the story all stupid. It's like, yeah, like if you read my books, you can see how my mind works. I mean, you can see how my mind works now just with my podcast. But at the same time, it's like, yo, when I have the time and the space and the comfort to just be in my zone, just to be in my flow, to just write and create. Oh, just acquire the portions, the flows, the sounds, the colors, this magnifique. Like, oh, it's amazing. Like, this is my point where I'm like, I love being by myself. I really do. Like, I can sit in my mind, in my imagination, and just create stuff for infinity, like for an infinite amount of time. Like, time is a construct. So, like, yeah, I'm constantly just. Hence why when I disassociate a lot, it's not because I don't want to hear y'all. It's just the fact of the matter is, it's like usually I know where the conversation is going when it before it starts, unless it's really, really, really intriguing, and it's about like multiple people. Then usually I'm locked in because I want to hear what all these multiple people going to do. Because it's like Clue. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I see my life, like I said it before. It's a choose your own adventure book, but like everything I do comes from a aspect of my 8-year-old self of just being whimsical and just being childlike. Like everything is an adventure basically. Everything is something that I can do to grow and get experience points on so I can level up to become better than I was before. So that's why I'm like everything is fun and entertainment. That's why I never understand why so many people get so serious about stuff. And I'm not trying to say a lot either for Dark Knight either. But like I'm like, yo, everybody can be so fake adult. And when I say fake adult, I'm saying it again. People that are adults are playing the roles that they seen their parents play, that their parents seen the roles of their parents playing. When in actuality, everybody has that experience of being that young rebellious kid or that young kid who was inquisitive or that young kid who just was like, I don't I'm not sure where I belong. I'm not sure where I fit in at. And then trying to find themselves. And then get beat the fuck down and say like, no, don't be unique. Wear this fucking suit and get this job. That's how you fucking live. You fucking piece of shit. But nah, like, and that's the beautiful thing is it's so bad to keep saying this, but I will constantly say like during 2020, man, COVID was a magical year for me. Like when I tell you, it changed the game for everything. Like you can see the fact that like, oh yeah, we didn't have to go to work to make money. We could do a whole bunch of stuff. Like we seen people making money from YouTube before COVID, and we just like, huh, I don't know what magical mystical thing you could do outside of pressing record and just being yourself. I don't know how to do that. And it was like, oh shit, it's just that simple. You just press record and just upload it or what's called. Oh wait, apparently you got to do a whole shit over editing. And I was like, wait, why? But why? Why do I have to edit myself? Why do? Oh, that's right. Because apparently this algorithm treats us like children. Because that's how we act. We act like children who are playing pretend as adults. And the algorithm treats us like that. Like we can't say gun. We can't say porn. We all these social network, media networks things, they have us talking like babies. Pew pew. You gotta say pew pew for a gun. Pew pew. Like, we're literally in Star Wars now. Like, pew pew. Like, not even Star Wars. This is Spaceballs. I'm so happy Spaceballs 2 is coming out because we're living in Spaceballs. Like, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. We're adults. We're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s on social media talking about pew pew, pew pew, pew 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 pew. Oh my god. Oh my god! While somebody was watching corn, there was pew pews going on outside. What the hell is that? Like I can't. I wish. Oh my gosh! I wish I had a time machine so I can go in the future and I can really just tell all the future people like, please don't talk. Don't do that. I like really want some Doctor Who shit. Like don't do that. Like don't. No, that's not. Mm-mm. Don't mimic. Don't mimic what's going on social media. Don't. Read a book. Read a book. Read a book. Read any book. Any book that will help you. Oh my god. I'm sorry. It's just I'm trying to I'm trying to think of something outside of the Chinese food that I'm about to get after I start recording. But I keep thinking about the Chinese food. That's why I keep saying like, oh, what was I talking about? I was so I've been thinking about this Chinese food for 3 days. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's gonna be so good. Oh my god! But anyway, sorry. I'm tickled today. I'm in a really giddy mood. I've been in a giddy mood for a minute. Like I've finished God of War Ragnarok. I just finished God of War Ragnarok yesterday. That's what I'm. That's honestly outside of like my school break and like writing my book stuff like that. I've been playing God of War like a madman. Like I've been eating up this story so much, and I've been trying to like do every side quest that I possibly can and beat everything. When I talk about I'll be going to war with those gravestone mofos, oh God, I'll be going to war. I'll be going to war. When I tell you I'm getting so man, when I fought Owen, it was difficult. It was a challenging duel. It was really great. However, it didn't feel like anything compared to one of those. I still haven't. It's a gravestone where you gotta fight. If you know, you know. You gotta fight three of these things. And when I tell you, I'm like, you mofos, I'm gonna get you. like, but yeah, they've been whipping my ass. But yeah, that's the oh my gosh, it is it's great. It's a great story. I highly recommend playing both the games if you have the tenacity, if you have the time. I would say go play all of the God of War games because his story doesn't just start and end with his son Atreus. Like he has a saga, and I was never really a fan of the first installments of the games, but after rewatching, well, not rewatching people play it, but watching the storyline on YouTube of it, phenomenal storyline, phenomenal story. And then to see his development from that type of version of himself to who he is now as this new idea of himself as a father, oh my god, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like once again, like all it is, because I said this before, is Lone Wolf and Cub. It's Shogun Assassin and is Logan is every is Swordfish is every like it's Curly Sue. You know what I mean? It's every father with their child just trying to make it and trying to survive and trying to like make sure that they're okay and their kids okay because if they're fucked up, their kids gonna be fucked up. And did they do enough to make sure their kid is going to be okay? That's always the fucking forefront of fucking any parent's mind that is thinking about their children's future. That's all I'm saying. If that's not you, if it don't apply, let it fly. Oh man. But yeah, yeah, and it resonates so deeply with me because that's all I think about. Like I'm constantly to the point where I'm constantly to the point where I said constantly like 4 times already. Constantly at the point where I am simultaneously planning out the future with myself and my daughter while also simultaneously not thinking about the future I'm planning with me and my daughter because of the fact that I'm like, you know, anything can happen. Now, I know what I am putting out in the ether to happen, and I know what I'm resonating to my future that I'm claiming to happen. But at the same time, variables, so many variables. Because regardless of what I'm doing and how I am living my life and delegating my life and living the pureness of like calmness and comfort and growth and healing. You never know what agenda anybody has about anything, and what could be done or manipulated to change whatever thing. But regardless, even with that, I guess that's just the journey. That's the journey. That's the journey. And regardless of whatever the journey brings, I know that everything's supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and everything's going to be okay. God, I'm really trying not to think about the Donnie Darko line either now. So, like, yeah, yeah, like everything's going to be okay, and I sit with that because I have comfort with that now because I've lived through so many experiences. I've done so many things. I've lived through so many things. I mean, like speaking of which, like even when it came down to now jumping into my intimate years, if you will, like yeah, the first intimate experiences I had that were sexual were those experiences I shared in the last episode. The first time I actually had sex was, like I said, when I was 16 at first, and then which I didn't talk about for obvious reasons until I found out about the Romeo and Juliet law of Pennsylvania. So I was like, okay, it's okay that I can talk about me being 16 and a person I was with to being like 23 and yada yada yada. So I felt more confident about that later on. Um, after learning that, after like having one of the friends tell me about that, which was interesting conversation how that came up. But it was just like, oh, like let me do my research due diligence, cause yada yada yada. Because once again, let's be clear, as weird as colonizers are, I am so happy that they changed the law back in, I want to say like 19. Oh, I want to say it was like 19, either 20, 1922 or 1927. It was either a little bit over a year or a little bit under, not a year. It was either a little bit over 100 years or a little bit under 100 years where they changed the age of consent to 18, like, or 16 or like that. Because I think it was younger than that. Or like, like, I'm happy they changed the age of consent. But I mean, what could you kind of expect from people coming from like thieves and murderers and rapists coming from Europe? So colonizers, like, they was already giving people smallpox just so they could take land and yada yada yada. So I mean, we already talked about the Bible already last week. So, but when they start moving forward and moving up from, because I wasn't penetrated. Thankfully, I can honestly say I've never had my anus penetrated by anyone outside of myself. You know, God, I don't want to say the line for waiting. I'm trying not to say lines for movies right now. I'm just trying to like clear cut, get it in and out, and nope. And like finish this podcast because once again Chinese food. But anyway, um, so yeah, I just felt the erection on me. He played with my dick. Um, we had other occasions where it was mainly oral. It was a lot of oral that was happening. I'm not sure. No, I didn't, because I think I tried to say it the last time, and the last time my audio didn't record. It was an interesting experience. I was trying to. I did that podcast like 3 times because there was so much stuff that happened when I was recording that podcast last week. But yeah, like it was a lot of oral. Started off from him to me, me receiving, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I got a lot of head from it, and I was like, let me reciprocate because this feels great. Let me give it back because it feels great. And yeah, so I gave him a lot of head, gave him a lot of head. It's actually interesting. I think I was getting, if not the most head, definitely second amount of the most head in my house at the time. It was funny. So funny. There was one time where it's not it is no it's funny. They him and his little sister was playing hide and go seek at the house. I was like chilling at the dining room table. Like I don't know if I think I was on the book report. Yeah, I was doing another book report because I was reading and yada yada. I'm not sure if I was in trouble that time or I was just doing it just to do it. I think I was probably in trouble because more likely if they was there, I probably would have been trying to hang out with them instead of doing the room first. So I think I was in trouble at that time. So while I was doing the book report, he hid underneath the table and was giving me it. While his sister was literally running through the house looking for him, like, "Yo, you see him?" I'm like, "Nah, he might be on the porch." Like just getting swallowed up. It was funny as shit. I'm just reading out loud, reading the book out loud, so that I'm basically reading to him while he sucked me off, and while his sister's running through the house and stuff like that. Hilarious. But yeah, like we did that for a couple of years, and then when I turned 18 and his sister turned 16, that's when me and his sister started messing with each other. And he stopped messing with me. Well, we stopped messing with each other, and well, we still was chill. We still hung out. It wasn't like it was a breakup. It just kind of like we just kind of stopped. Actually, I'm not sure why. Maybe because I wasn't giving him back. Maybe that was the girl in me where I was just like, oh, I'm like, I don't understand why we like, we weren't fucking. It was just oral. So yeah, at the same time, I totally get that because I wasn't fucking at the time, so it wasn't like me getting my dick wet was like a point of interest at that point. It was just me getting my dick wet from oral. So I was like, well, what else is there besides you stick your dick between my thighs and me tightening my thighs so you can like get off that way? Like I don't want to do that to you because you suck my dick. So, like I'm good. So um, but yeah, then we later on like we just kind of stopped, and which cleared it down makes sense. Um, like now I'm fucking. But yeah, I would stop fucking. I'm like, yeah, I'm giving you head, you give me head. That's all we doing. But that's if that's all you're comfortable with, that's all you're comfortable with. Totally understand. So yeah. But then that's when me and his sister started messing around, and then we started up being together, and then we was together for a while, and then we broke up because I went to Job Corps, and it was annoying because she had this whole dream vision thing about because originally it was supposed to be me and like either both of my friends or one of my friends was supposed to go to Job Corps with me. Like we both like went down to Job Corps, City, signed up for everything, yada yada yada. And and I can't remember why he didn't go. I can't remember why he didn't go. Um, and obviously it doesn't matter. I don't care. But I ended up going. And when I was going to going, because I was since you already know my thing. I was like I wasn't putting any type of like effort into school anymore. So I was just like, fuck it, it is what it is. So, but I was like, I do want to graduate. Like I should, even though she doesn't think I'm going to do anything with my life. Like my mom don't think I'm going to do anything academically. Like I do kind of want to honor her by like walking down the aisle and get my diploma or something like that. So like I could do Job Corps because I can also learn a trade, I can learn a skill, yada yada yada. So yeah, got the GED from Job Corps, graduated with honors as a foreman for my carpentry class as well. Like yeah, it was dope. Actually, I would have been able to get any job I wanted in Washington D.C. as a carpenter, but I chose of unwariness and I just the journey that I am. I was on. I chose to come back home to Philadelphia to be like, no, I'm gonna stay close to the family and yada yada yada. I'll find work out there type thing. Never did, but that is what it is. That was the journey I was on, and I'm okay with it because it brought me my mini me. But and that's the only thing I'm really grateful for, honestly, outside of breathing. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of breathing, I had a beautiful thing. The whole line of "If you love something, let it go. If it returns to you, let it be." I correlated that to the fact of like breathing. Like, huh? Because if we breathe out oxygen, we love our lives. We love existing, but we still breathe out carbon dioxide. But when we breathe back in, we breathe in oxygen and life, the breath of life. So you love something, let it go. And it returns back to you, then it's meant to be. And I'm happy to keep breathing. So yeah, it was just that was something that like came to mind recently, and I was just like, that's I love that. I love this because it has nothing to do with nothing but yourself. It's not about capturing a bird, like imprisoning a bird. It's not about imprisoning a person in a relationship. It's about just being existing, just being one with your consciousness and reality. And so it's beautiful. But yeah, um, so the sister had this dream in her words slash premonition that, which realistically, talking about the omniverse, it probably was just a unconscious doorway in the hallway that she just peeked in and just found a reality where that happened. But I mean not reluctantly, but sadly, to say, like, the thing that she assumed was going to happen did not happen. So yeah, it was a thing of like she's seen like this whole vision of me and my friend in like this apartment type complex with all these girls around us, and I was ignoring her, and they was like all hanging on me and yada yada, and I was like, you not worth the spit on my dick or some weird line or some shit. Basically, she broke up with me. So I was like, hey, that's what you feel. I'm not going to tell you your feelings or your dreams are moot or whatever like that. But I don't see that happening. I wanted to spend the rest of my days with you type shit. But okay, if that's how you feel, that's your journey. And yeah, and we broke up. And yeah, I just was then I found out my friend wasn't going to job corps, so I was just going by myself, and I just was there alone. But it was such a great experience because I met so many amazing, wonderful people, and I learned so much about myself. And I met my one of my seafoods that was there. He actually was a student that studied like taekwondo, not taekwondo, jinkudo, and it was a type of jinkudo. It wasn't the full extent of Jigo. There was a type of it, but he was a student, and he actually asked his Sifu if he was able to train us, and me and him got along swimmingly. Like he was a militant like Muslim gentleman, and but we vibed. It was so funny because he almost beat the bullshit out of a student, like somebody who was going to Job Corps as well, and it was like one of the new people like that, and it was funny. Oh my god, I was so annoyed because I smoked weed before I went to Job Corps, and I smoked weed after I got Job Corps. But when you go to Job Corps, they do this whole honor system. It's like you can't smoke weed or drink alcohol, yada yada yada. And if you do, you know, you can either be kicked out of the program or yada yada yada. But if you sign this contract saying that you don't, yada yada yada. But also, if you do it as a minor, we have to tell your parents if you succumb and do it again, yada yada yada. Especially in our premises. So I was like, yeah, this is what it is. Like they don't know I'm smoking weed at home, but at the same time, like I don't want them to know because that's one none of their business, and also I didn't want to get in trouble. But come to find out, I get a call from like my mom like a month or so later, and it was like, "You smoke weed?" I'm like, "What?" It was like, "I got a letter from John Ford talking about how you smoke weed." Blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Huh?" They're like, "Yeah, but I don't know more because I'm a Job Corps. It's the point that I'm not smoking weed." So after I like got reamed out by that, um, hung up the phone. I went straight to the damn. I was like, "What the fuck was that?" They was like, well, we said we. And I was like, no, y'all said if I fucking got caught smoking weed again or some shit like that, or the premises is what's called, then you will send it. They was like, no, we send it out after y'all signed it because we want to be transparent. Like y'all didn't say that bullshit. I was like, you know what? Fuck you. It is what it is. I just walked the fuck out. It was fun. It was annoying. But anyway, um, after that happened, I started smoking weed fucking heavy as shit. Like, fuck y'all. Does everybody know that I smoke weed? I might as well smoke the fucking weed now. The fuck I'm going to just not smoke weed no more, and everybody still going to criticize me about not smoking weed. Fuck y'all smoking weed. So one night I was high as shit in Job Corps, and I was coming back. I was coming back to my dorm because I had, oh my God, it was so funny. I had another guy whose name was Sean who looked almost identically like me, which is not strange because apparently a lot of people look like me, ironically enough. So a lot of times when people be saying shit about me, a lot of people be thinking it's somebody else half the time. They be like, "Oh, I see Troy, blah 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 blah." I wasn't there. I was literally home all day. Like, oh, I could have sworn that was you. I literally said hi and everything. You didn't say shit. Like it wasn't me. That's why that person didn't say anything. But people be getting mad, being like, "Oh yeah, I see you," blah blah blah. Like, no, you didn't. Yeah, did. Stop lying. What the fuck? Why would I lie about that? But anyway, digress. So I was coming back from getting high with my the guy who looked like my twin. We actually would say we was twins. He had a black leather jacket. I had a black leather jacket. He was Muslim, so he had like the Muslim scarf, the black and white Muslim scarf John on, and he had a bunch of them. So he would give me one of them. So we would literally just be walking around like we was twin brothers. It was funny as shit. Never mind. I'm not going to tell that story just yet. I will tell that story later. But yeah, like I was coming home, we smoked some weed. We was high as shit. Me, him, and one of his lady friends that we almost smashed together. It was crazy. It was an interesting night. Um, but some other dudes came up and like was went to go hang out with her and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm cool because I'm high as shit anyway. I don't give a fuck. And so I'm getting back to where my dorm is, the block where my dorm is, and because mind you, the job where I was at in Washington basically looked like it was like a military type base type thing. It was kind of like we had a football. It was kind of like a college, but like if it was like a military college. So we had like dorms and like we it was all everything was basically walking distance. But if you needed to drive somewhere, you could drive somewhere. Um, so walking from the football area spot back to my dorm. I see the RN because he was the RN. He was the night RN. He was always a night weekend RN. So I see him, and next thing I know, I hear him talking to some dude, but then I start hearing the volume of his voice. Volume, I'm high as shit. I hear the volume of his voice start to go higher and higher. I was like, that's not normal. Why is he yelling? I start like walking over all slow and high and shit like that. Like, what's going on? What? Why? Why are you so upset? Like, and he was like, next thing I know, because I'm not talking to him, I'm literally talking out loud to myself, but towards him as I'm walking, like a block away from him. Like, what's happening? So by the time I'm like almost like next to him, I his book. Now I'm walking behind. I'm walking up from behind him. So he didn't see me coming up. All I see next is his books and stuff get slammed on the ground. He was like, "I'm gonna fuck you up, motherfucker. You know what the fuck you doing?" I was like, "Oh." Literally by this time I'm next to him, like, hey, you dropped your books. You dropped your books. We don't need this. It's dirty. The ground is dirty. This is outside. We don't need your books on the ground. Here, let's pick this up and let's take these books into the dorms, into the office. And he was like, yeah, yeah. And I was like, hey, you're new here, aren't you? The new guy was like, yeah, I'm new here. I was like, well, welcome here. Well, this is welcome. Have a good night. This is what book are you reading? What book? And like literally, like start walking with his books to the doors, and literally, I can't remember the rest of the night because all I remember was we got to the door, we went to his office, I put the books in there, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go to bed. I just walked to my door and we went to bed. Then, like, I'm not sure what time it was. All I remember was I woke up. He's standing over my bed, and I already standing over my bed because there was no like locks on the door. Like it was locks on the door, but it wasn't like you could. I mean, it was you can lock the door if you chose to, but I had other dorm bunkmates, so it wasn't like everybody needed to like the door needed to be locked because everybody wasn't in the room yet. So I wake up because I'm like I guess he like walked in the set, but I woke up all startled like oh what the fuck. And he's like, hey man, I just wanna just wanna thank you because I could have lost my job and I could have went to jail because I would have broke that little motherfucker's jaw. And I was like, hey man, we're past it now. Like I'm still high as shit. I was like, we're past that now. It's all right. Don't worry about it. It's just hey, have a good night. I will go to sleep again. I just passed it back out. I don't even know if he knew I was high or not. And literally the next day, yeah, because the next night, like, because I think that was like a Friday night when it happened. So Saturday night, literally, that was when he was like, "Yo, Troy, no, for real, like, I I want to thank you." Like, yeah, I was like, "No, for real, I can't remember what happened." So whatever I did, you're welcome. You're welcome. That was some good weed. And I didn't smoke for like at least 3 months at that time. So like my system was clean. So that was some good weed. But yeah, it was great. And after that, that's when he I can't remember if he was teaching us already, if he started teaching right after that. But I became like his number two like student type thing. I was his number one student, but I was like his number two. Who does that? No, I'm not trying to say Austin Powers line. Okay, so like I was like his like right hand person or like that. It was dope. Like it was so like Job Corps was so great because Job Corps allowed me to meet so many other different people from all over the place. People from like because I from being from Philly, it was the usual the Philly people, Jersey people. I occasionally might find a New Yorker, like maybe, but like it wasn't like I was seeing people from Baltimore, from DC, from Maryland, from like Virginia, yeah, yeah, yeah. Virginia was like family members like when we seen on whichever, like yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was dope. Like I met a Baltimore dude. Me and him was like best friends. Like I became friends with a lot of people. Except for this one dude I was friends with. His name was Troy. He was a new person. And I was like, hey, my name's Troy. We can fucking be cool. And then he fucking play. He took one of my shirts. I had to. Oh, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. But I bought the black white with it was black and white. It was all black. The white was like Chinese lettering, and then it was like some red Chinese lettering as well, and it was like it was like a dragon on there, well like that. Then I bought the same type of shirt, but this one was like a tan, and like I think it was like tan and brown. Like the tan was the color scheme, but the brown was the Chinese lettering or Asian lettering, and it was like in like a darker like brown for like a tiger or a dragon or something like that on that one. And I was like, yeah, you could get one of like one of my shirts or like that, yada yada yada. Cause I just washed it and everything. I was like, it's clean. Like, what? This motherfucker stole my shirt. I had literally had to go. Because once mine is mine, and if I let you borrow it, it's a borrow. I'm not giving it to you. Oh, man, I was like, you know what? This is a shirt. I'm not gonna get kicked out over a shirt. Just like I wasn't gonna get kicked out over a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee, cup of coffee thing was I was pissed at the cup of coffee thing because this is when I used to drink coffee. I made the perfect cup of coffee. I made the perfect cup of coffee for myself, and I was literally waiting till I got back to the like my stationary spot to like drink it, and somebody knocked it over. And I literally gripped them up, tilted my hand, like rotated my wrist so that he would be caught off guard. Because I grabbed him with my left hand, but I grabbed him by I had my thumb down and my palm like reaching forward. So when I grabbed him, I was grabbing him and I was rotating my hand back up forward so my thumb would be upward. So I had a grip on his shirt, but at the same time when I twisted, I was twisting it from the top of his shirt so I could keep her off balance. So I had a clean angle. So if I came up with my right or came down with my right, it would have been curtains. But see, this is what I mean when I watch TV kung fu flicks. I analyze the situations. This is why I'm like I don't do stuff because I know no one's going to be ready for when I do stuff. This is why I don't get physical with people because you know that cartoon Action Man. Never mind, we'll get to that Action Man. So like that's how I became. That's how I became a foreman because all this happened in front of my instructor. My instructor seen he was sitting in the truck. He was sitting in the truck, and this happened in front of the truck. And I literally had the dude who knocked my coffee out of my hand on the front of the truck. So he's seen the whole thing. He seen he and he calculated everything. He was like, you would have knocked his jaw. Whenever after because I tilted him and I had him off center and I was literally like and I just let him go and he fell to the ground and my instructor was like, Troy, I need you in the truck right now. And I was like, oh fuck. I was like, I didn't punch him. It wasn't a fight. I didn't punch him. No violence was had. No violence was had. He was like, no, 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 no. He was like, you displayed so much self restraint. He was like, I looked at your eyes, I see your eyes, and that would not have been good for him. And he was like, the fact that you didn't, the fact that you took a second to breathe and to say, it's just coffee. He was like, I appreciate that. And that's not something I see every day. And it's people my age that I don't see that from. He's like, from now on, You ride in the front seat with me. You're gonna be my foreman." And that was it. I was because he had two different classes, and I was in one class. I was in week two class, and he had another class in week one. I became his foreman for both classes because after pretty much like a week after that, that's when I took my GED test, and I passed my GED test, and I didn't have to do my GED classes no more, so I could just be in my carpentry classes. And instead of it being week one GED class, week two carpentry, it was just week one and week two the whole month. It was just carpentry class. So I was just foreman, which meant I didn't do shit. I didn't do shit. Literally, all I did was ride in the front seat. Well, I literally went from being a new person in the class, riding in the back seat, being stuffed and crammed up with all these other motherfuckers, to now riding in the front seat. And it's just me and the instructor, me and the teacher in the front seat. Everybody crammed in the back. It was a big like van, like transportation van for like a good like 12 people to fit in that fucking thing, especially like for teenagers and yada yada and young adults. But like, I'm in the front seat and it was just like one of those like bucket seat, row seats or something like that, so you can sit like another person up front. It was just me and him. It was. I was next to the window. I could control roll it down my passenger side window if I wanted. It was fantastic. When I tell you, like the perks of when people actually really see the treasure that I am, and they really like bestow me with like my gifts, and lavish me with my gifts, I'm like, yeah, like I sit in that because I deserve it. Because yeah, I could have knocked that bull head off, and I didn't because I don't do that. I choose love. I choose love. But all right, that's enough of that because I'm getting my Chinese food. I've said enough. And I love y'all all, and I appreciate y'all all. And thank you for again sticking with me for another episode of Welcome to the Troyiverse. Um, hope it brought you joy. I hope it brought you laughter. I hope it brought you some type of thoughts of deepness and character development. And I hope that you are also enjoying whatever food that you are been craving for about 3 days. All right. Y'all have a wonderful one, and I will talk to you in episode 14. This has been a Troyverse production.